I remember taking the impact test that WWE gives for to measure the degree of head injuries, and knowing as it was happening that it was not going particularly well. And at a certain point, the neurologist during our second meeting said, "You should never be in the ring again." At that point, at that moment, the idea of having another outlet, another way to communicate, another way to tell stories, another way to get reactions became very meaningful to me.
Your next act coming to the stage, the Hall of Famer, the hardcore legend, the best-selling author, Mrs. Foley's baby boy, Mick Foley, everybody!
Thank you. You guys could have continued. That was a rather short-lived Foley chant. There you go. Because the more you cheer, the less I have to do.
All right, we've been talking about our next guest most of the morning, being a wrestler, legend in the wrestling world, and now you're starting a whole new career. Where are you getting this energy from? Because after getting beat up so bad, I would think you would just wake up in the morning and go, "Oh, God, I can't move."
Well, I started doing this about 4 years ago, and I made the biggest mistake I could have done is the one I made, which is I tried to become a comedian.
If people want to hear humorous material about anything outside of wrestling, there are lots of better choices. But if they wanted to hear outrageous stories with a certain warmth about the wild world of sports entertainment, then I was going to be that guy. And the moment I accepted that I was that guy, that I was the wrestling guy, the improvement was instant.
I'll be honest, it's still very difficult for me to walk onto any elevated platform and not think of it as a potential place to drop elbows off of. In the early 1990s, you, sir, with the beard, sir, you would be well within the Foley elbow zone. It's like the wrestling equivalent of the Shamu splash zone. You know you could get soaked. Well, it's 2014. These guys are relatively safe here.
I am the only person in the world who can be Googled using the phrases, and you could put me to the test here.
Oh, we're gonna have to.
Hardcore legend.
Well, I'm
Hell in a Cell.
Hell in a Cell, you win.
And feminist.
And feminist?
Yep, and see what comes up.
There you are,
there
baby.
I am.
There you are.
Bang! Boom!
Jesus
It
Christ
works.
#2.
There we go. There you are. It was just like something clicked. And these ideas became stories, and those reactions that I love so much were there for me. And I realized that if I didn't really do this, if I didn't try it, if I didn't apply myself, that I was going to be that guy sitting on my couch 10 years later saying, I could have done that. And I will do just about anything not to be that guy on my couch saying I could have done that.
This massive structure, rumored to be upwards of 40 feet, was actually 16 feet in the air. I gotta tell you, once you've been thrown off a structure that is 6 feet higher than a basketball rim, there's no longer any need for exaggeration. Although Jim Ross, JR, wants to stop off at the Foley bedroom and apply those type of mathematics to the play-by-play, it would be appreciated. Look at the circumference.
The one knock I used to get was from wrestling fans who go, "Yeah, but it's only for wrestling fans." I'd say, but that's not for you to say because you're a wrestling fan.
Right. That's what I was going to ask you. It's not just for wrestling fans, is it?
They're primarily, I mean, they're told with wrestling fans in mind, but there's this look, and I love the look. It's like almost my favorite part of the show. It comes at about the 10-minute mark when the significant others who've been kind of dragged to the show, not always dragged, but, just in a, dramatic show of love and support. At about the 10-minute mark, they realize, it's like, wow, he's a lot better. I'm having a much better time than I thought I would.
I began assessing the situation, not in the instantaneous fashion I talked about earlier, but really thinking about it as the clouds of unconsciousness started to dissipate, which means grow smaller. Because I am a New York Times #1 best-selling author. And I want this to be educational. I started actively assessing the situation. I thought to myself, okay, you got a massive wound underneath your lip. And if you can think of a way to take your tongue, stick it through that massive wound, and wriggle it. Just stick it through and wriggle it. Just stick it through and go.
The object I'm talking about wriggling is my tongue through a gaping hole underneath my lip because of a serious injury I have suffered. And I just like the idea of juxtaposing the seriousness of the injury with the silliness of the word, and then as I go on, yelling the word wriggle.
You can take your tongue, stick it through that massive wound and wriggle it! Wriggle it! Wriggle it! It's gonna make for some pretty captivating television. So that's my commitment to my craft. And then I thought, what are those shoes doing there?
I try to experiment every day with trying things a different way. But when things are going right and I feel confident, I love the word wriggle.
Actually, there's not that much pressure on me because people's expectations are so low. My feeling is that once people get a chance to see what it is I do, that they will like it, that it will exceed their expectations, and that I will be able to tell these stories for some time to come.
He comes across with the comedy show almost the same kind of passion that he wrestled with. It's really cool.
To hear how articulate he is, and then for him to also make fun of how articulate he is, you'll enjoy it whether you understand what he's talking about when he talks about the cell or not, and he'll explain it before the night's over.
If you're a wrestling fan, you have to go. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, the comedy show's worth checking out.
It was just a week ago where my daughter texted me and told me that my two youngest kids had seen a YouTube clip of the Santa who changed his name to Santa Claus, and they knew it was the Santa who visited our house every Christmas Eve. And it was devastating. I knew I had to have that talk when I got home. My kids looked me right in the eye and they said, "Dad, is Santa real?" And I said, "He's still real to me, damn it."
My golly, it's Santa!
I think some people are a little bit trepidatious to see me in an atmosphere like this because they thought, this guy used to be in Madison Square Garden. I've been there and I've had 20,000 people chanting my name, and I don't place any more importance on that experience than I do the fact that people are leaving feeling like it was worthwhile, worth the money, worth the time. It's as rewarding as any standing ovation I received in the arenas.
Thanks a lot, you guys are great.
I admire people who go up there on stage and try something different. I'm not a fart joke guy. Although in the right hands, it can be a thing of beauty. Steve Martin had some good. I am a fart joke guy. I just
trying to act highbrow.